important and that helps me a lot. So please spread the word and go to my website and also talk to your friends and families and ask them to vote for me. Thank you so much.
Good luck. Good luck at the vote. So I think we're mostly assembled back. We can get started. We want to do it only in like the next 30 minutes because I think we told everybody 4 to 6. So we know we're already on a grace. Can everybody extend till 6:30?
Yes.
All right. So you had suggested I speak for a little bit, but I think I want to cut that short, like really short, very quickly because I think everybody here is here to listen to you. But we do want to talk about a few things with the group of people. It's not easy to get a group of people of Indian origin together to talk about politics on a Saturday afternoon. I mean, we have a billion other things to do, and this is not the most coolest thing for people to do. So we know by definition that you guys are interested. You want to either you like the speaker or you like the topic. So in either case, we want to know who amongst you want to be a little bit more focused on this. So in the earlier discussion, JP was talking about a whole lot of different reforms that India needs. We believe, and he believes as well, I'm assuming that the three most fundamental ones, the most important ones, that unleash innovation for us are on health for everybody, which is, and I'll probably just talk about 1 or 2 slides and then stop at that because we'll want him to talk a little bit about what he's trying to do in that and how to drive it. The second is the quality of education, and I'll talk about what that means. I'll do the stats and data just best of my recollection, and then JP can talk about what he's trying to do to push that. And the third one, which is something that he's already talked about, is moving governance locally, moving it to where it is. In fact, the example that he's quoting at all kinds of forums worldwide is the Cupertino versus Sunnyvale example. I think the better one would be the East Palo Alto and the West Palo Alto one. Just basically 2 places right across, and there's a complete link between the taxes paid, the income of the people, the parents' attention, and what happens in schools in one district versus the other. So that's a great example of local governance. So what we want from you is if you're willing to spend a few hours a week, a few hours a month, we'd like to know who you are, and if you are interested, you don't have to do it on the roads, we don't have to do it outside. We could do it from our homes, but this is about making these issues more known, making these issues, Mahatma Gandhi used to talk about each one teach one. If we know that these are the key issues and we can talk to our neighbors and our friends about what these are in an articulate way, not based on our belief and our thought, but really based on the data that shows and how do we act on that data. Yeah, so that's our request from you. Those of you that are interested, we don't want armies, we want small. No, we don't need the lights. Thanks. Yeah. So we'll just talk about it for a couple of minutes, the key agenda items, and I won't talk about the solutions. The cool thing about what Lok Satta has been doing is that there is a fully defined solution for these big issues that is well thought out, based on the data that is in front of us, that is right for the Indian environment. So we want us to first all of us, those that are interested, need to absorb it, understand it, and only if you're fully vetted with it, we want your support. And we'll talk about how to do the support. You can connect with us volunteers and we'll talk about how to support. So 3 key things, like I said. One is we can make healthcare accessible for all. It can happen in our life, well, I mean our lifetime, but I mean basically we're talking about 10 years. We can do it in 10 years. Accessible, affordable, effective for everybody in the entire country. The quality of outcome of education. And this is actually the most controversial topic in an Indian audience. Everybody thinks, we have the IITs and the IIMs, the Indian people are generally smarter than everybody else. Well, the facts are not. In an international test, on whether people are absorbing versus memorizing. Okay, simple mathematics, simple science. India ranked 73rd out of 74. Actually, 72nd and 73rd, both they're two states. They felt Tamil Nadu is smarter than Himachal Pradesh. And Himachal Pradesh is 73, Tamil Nadu is 72, Kyrgyzstan is 74. Okay, Pakistan, Indonesia, Nigeria, I guess everybody else is above us. And in response to that, the government said we will not test anymore. Okay, so that's our the response. And then we talked about local government, and then the Cupertino example that I'll end with, which is the linkage between taxes, services, and the vote. Like why am I going to go vote for Chandu? It's going to be because what can she do for me? It's not about what party she's from, where is she, and so on and so forth. Yeah? So quick couple of things. I'll only introduce the topic or the heading, and then I'll stop at that. So if you go to the next slide, please. Next. So you can keep progressing. It's a build. Go back. Yeah. So life expectancy at birth in India. I mean, India is now actually the country. The individuals may be poor, but India is quite a rich country, and life expectancy has improved. Mortality has gone down. But if you go to the next slide, the outputs are abysmal. It's shameful if you see what's happening. A million children have died in 2015. A million. Okay, it's unbelievable. And the other one is 63 million people going back into poverty. It takes about 10, 20 years of hard work, going to school, sending a child to college, and so on and so forth, to get out of poverty, to crawl out of poverty, and it's one sickness that brings you back. 63 million people across the country, and this is government stats, it's not made up stats, and things like that. If you go to the next then, and this is not because India is poor. This is GDP on the x-axis, per capita GDP, and this is infant mortality. Zimbabwe does much better, Tajikistan does much better, Nepal's better. It's not because they're smarter. Okay, so it's we know that. So if you go to the next then, so therefore it's not enough that it's just money. So after the 91 reforms, thankfully, because of which we are all here, the per capita income's gone up, but immunization has not, health has not, and so on and so forth. So therefore, the so what. So we go to the next, and then we'll just talk about the so what and stop there. Well, this is the big reason why. This is India's spending compared to like the United States, which is again also abysmal. I think in the US we spend so much and we get horrible outcomes. But if you look at every other country, even Madagascar, we're spending less. Okay, and it's a ridiculous statistic. So anyway, that's enough of the problems. We'll talk a little bit about what Lok Sabha is proposing. Go to the next. Yeah. You can stop there and we stop there. So essentially, it's a full program. So you have to go online, you have to study this. We have sites and we have PowerPoint decks and so on. It's a full program, and the program talks about cost-effective intervention at the primary level, secondary level, tertiary level. How do you get a private doctor to treat the patient? You have Aadhaar cards, you know how much it costs. You can pay the doctor, you don't have to have everybody go to a given hospital. High quality institutions, how do you improve the institutions nationally? And then the appropriate delivery models for delivery of healthcare. And at least the belief in the group is that will significantly impact outcomes. It's not belief, it's based on statistics from every other comparative study. Multiple countries have done this. So this is not where you want to be super innovative. You can actually take somebody's idea and copy it. You don't, and it's worked in several countries, it should work in ours. So we'll talk about education then. You can keep skipping. We don't have time for all this. This is next. So I urge you to go to FDR's website. All these decks are there. If not, write us and we'll give you all the material. You need to we need to educate ourselves before we talk about what's going on. So keep going next. It's a comprehensive program, multiple phases that's been proposed. Good, next. We'll just skip through all the. We'll let you talk a little bit about what the solution is. So in education, we believe we have to redefine success. Okay, you need to say what is success. Success is not number of people who are engineers, number of people who are doctors, because then those engineers and doctors are not employable. And this is, what every institution that's talking about. There are so many career guidance things. We talk about people coming from somewhere like a Karimnagar saying, I'm an engineer, but I don't know what job to do, right? So we're talking about funds and so on. So again, I'll introduce the problem, and then maybe JP can take a few minutes to talk about the solution, because that's who you're here to listen. Despite a lot of spending by the Indian government, again, same situation. India is not poor. The teachers are not poor. We're paying the teachers more than per capita than a lot of other countries. We're putting a lot more into schools, but government enrollment's gone down. Nobody wants to send their children to government schools anymore. It's probably their education quality. It's about what they believe their children will get when they go to that school, and so on and so forth. And there's decline in standards, and both are based on clear data. So if you go to the next, I think we can. This is basically to say that the states, this is across states, Telangana, Andhra, Maharashtra, they're paying very well. Teachers are being paid well, at least per capita comparatively. But then this is the decline in how many people want to send their children to government schools. The next. So this is actually shocking, and so this is not basically what JP thinks or somebody else thinks. This is a test that's given. It's called the ACER test, given by the government, and this is standard 5, standard 8. 66% of people can actually subtract two numbers. Okay, and this is simple subtraction. Division is like 40% in standard 8. They can't read this and make sense of what this means. Rani likes her school. They can't make sense of it. Lots and lots of people, more than half. That's the kind of subtraction we're talking about. The division is like 3-digit number, like a 444 divided by 6. They can't do it. In the 8th grade, we're talking about 40% people can't. Well, 60 people out of 100 can't do this. It's shocking in terms of why would India be that way? Because every parent, however poor they are, want their child to be educated, and educated well. Then how